Hey guys, it's Brad. Well, this video is going to be a little different than most of the videos I put on YouTube. Usually, I'm doing videos looking at properties that are for sale and trying to show you guys what to look for in a property, introducing you to new areas, and trying to make the smartest property tour videos that are being made in Italy. But today I wanted to talk about something that's a little different. Today I wanted to talk about my experience now that I've lived here in Italy full time for more than a year. I'm up to about 440 days now. Now, I think a good place to start is why I decided to move myself, my wife Olivia, who you know if you know my channel, my two boys, my dogs, Kona and Charlie, and why I decided to move all of us away from the United States, from Texas, where we're from, to central Italy, which is where we are now. And my main driving factor for doing it was financial. It had nothing really to do with political. It had a little bit to do with safety concerns. It had actually a fair amount to do with some racism things directed against Olivia in the United States. But mainly it was a financial decision. Even though we've always done really well throughout our lives and have lived a very nice life, I was afraid that once I stopped working, which I've now done, I would have a hard time keeping up the same level of lifestyle that we always had. And that is being able to take multiple trips every year internationally, spending 20, 30, 40, 60 days a year in Europe, which we love, all over Europe, not just Italy. And once you stop making constant income, I was worried about how that was going to affect my ability to keep up that lifestyle. I never really worried about my ability to continue to feed ourselves if we had decided to stay in Texas or anywhere in the United States. But we certainly would have had to lower our lifestyle by a huge degree had we stayed there. And I think now that I've been here for more than a year, I don't think we're going to have to do that here because it's so inexpensive to live here. So let's go over real quickly what our expenses are here in Italy. So we bought 5 apartments here in Montepulciano, 4 of which have now been remodeled and are on what we call the nightly circuit. Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com is actually the biggest one. And then I actually have a lot of you subscribers come and stay with us, finding out about them through Brad's World, and they go to TuscanPalace.com, I'll plug it right now, and come and stay in one of our beautiful 16th and 17th century apartments here. Where do we live? We live on a little farm outside of town, a 50-acre grape farm. We have about 2,000 olive trees on the farm, and we live in a small casale, a small farmhouse, and we pay 700 euros a month. We pay about 120 to 140 euros a month for our electrical. And over the course of this last year, we've spent about 2,000 euros on methane. And that does our heating in the wintertime, which is when it was the highest, and also, of course, our hot water. So that's our main expenses for the housing here. Food, I think, is less than half the price in the US. You can go and get a couple bags of groceries for 20, 30 euros here. So I find food to be a lot less expensive. Our car is paid for. Car insurance runs about 200 euros a month, but it's a very comprehensive policy. Had we had just a basic, we're a resident and we want to insure the car, and if I kill somebody, it takes care of them, those run about 700 to 900 euros per year. We were paying about $250 per month in the US. So I was worried about my ability to provide my wife and my family, extended family, the type of lifestyle I've always been able to afford when I was working full time. And part of the problem is the fixed cost. In Texas, for example, while we don't pay any state income tax, we pay a very high property tax. My property tax is around $2,000 per month for our home, which isn't a super big fancy home. It's a nice home, but it's not super fancy. That is more than my Social Security payment will be when I start getting it, if I take it early, in another 5 years. And I won't have medical insurance for another 7 years. And Olivia won't have medical insurance through the US government for another 17 years because she's so young. So these are the things that we were facing, and that was the driving reason that we moved here. So let's talk real quickly about how was the process of becoming expats here. I hear from literally hundreds and hundreds of people every month that are wanting to do what I've already done, which is pack it up in the US and move everything to Italy. And the number one concern I hear from people is about the process of getting through all the forms and paperwork. And I'm here to tell you, it sucks way more than you can even imagine. It's not providing the items that you need to provide, and it's not qualifying when you know you can qualify. That's not the issue. The issue here is the bureaucracy. And you've heard this, I'm sure, a lot, if you're serious at all about moving to Italy. You've heard how bad the bureaucracy is here. It's worse than what you've heard. And it's not only just the bureaucracy, it's also the attitude of the people that are in charge of doing the things that need to be done to take care of your paperwork. And it hasn't been every single person, but just for example, if you send an email to a state agency, a government agency, there's a very good chance you're not going to get a response. If you phone them, there's a very good chance no one's going to pick up and answer the phone. So what do? You know a guy who knows a guy, or you know a girl who knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a girl. It really is how things are run here. When I couldn't get any information online about how my residency card, my permesso de soggiorno, was coming along, I had to call a friend of mine that's near the state police, immigration police that are handling my area here in Tuscany. And he happened to have gone to school with one of the head people, and he was able to make a phone call to this guy, and then that guy made a phone call to somebody, and they pulled up my information, and I found out I'd be getting it in about 3 weeks from that time. How long did it take overall? It took me 10 months from the day I turned in my paperwork for my permesso di soggiorno to when I got my residency card. It took 3 months from when they said it was ready until I had my appointment to go and pick it up. I got a text on May 18th this year that said, hey, your card's ready. We'll see you on August 19th to come and pick it up. That's the issue. That's what's going to cause you a lot of stress, and you need to be prepared for it. Let's talk real quickly about medical, because that was another main reason that we wanted to move out of the United States and into a country like Italy. Once you stop making money, it becomes very, very expensive to handle your medical expenses, especially when you were in our position. Our position was, I was 7 years away from Medicare, only 17 years away from Medicare, and yet we were losing most of our income because I just could not work anymore at the level I was working at. I was done. I'd already been working for 35 years in my own company, so I felt that was more than enough. And so Italy afforded us an opportunity to come here, and yes, we might pay a little more federal tax here than we pay in the US, but we don't pay any state income tax. Our medical care is included, and we don't pay on our primary residence any property tax. And let me tell you, the medical care here is even better than you've heard. Yes, it can be a little bit unusual when you go in for medical care, how they handle things. Just for example, doctors walk up in the ER, they don't introduce themselves, they don't tell you what their specialty is, they just start doing stuff to you. And but we found that the level of care is very good, and there was no bills for the couple times we've been to the ER, and there was very small bills when we needed to go get an MRI, and I had to go get a X-ray. X-ray was $30 out the door, and Oli's MRI with and without contrast was total 200 euros. That's without insurance. So we are now here for 440 days, more or less. We still do not have our medical insurance cards. And this goes back to the unbelievable bureaucracy here. We have our residency cards, the permesso de soggiorno. We want to get our national sanitaria, or whatever it's called, medical cards here. But there's an issue right now with where we're living and the type of house and how the gentleman's registered that house. And so tomorrow we have someone coming and helping us fill out 3 different sets of forms. Then we need to get his photo ID, and then he has to make a phone call or go to an office in person, and hopefully everything can get rectified. In the meantime, we're just paying cash for everything and hoping that something really major doesn't come up. But these are the types of issues that you have here. It's not just that Italy's a different culture and you need to be culturally tolerant. That is true. That you need to understand. Let me give you one great case in point. If you, in the United States or Canada, send an email Friday afternoon your time, don't get upset that it hasn't been answered by Sunday morning. It's not going to be. Weekends here, even for real estate agents, are mostly off. Sundays, for sure. You will get a response maybe the following Monday. It is how things are done here. But it doesn't have to be like that with the government and how things are handled here. It can be very frustrating trying to get through the process of getting everything done that you need to have done to get your ERV and then your permiso di soggiorno and then your health sanitary card. It is absolutely mind-numbing, the bureaucracy here. So just be prepared for that. Let me give you a little example of what the bureaucracy is like here. I turned in my ERV packet in Texas at the Houston consulate in the very beginning of April 2023. By the middle of May 2023, I had my ERV visa, had my passport back with the visa. We got here June 6th. We messed around, partly our fault, getting in the paperwork for a permiso di soggiorno, our permission to stay. But we did have it in by September, beginning of September. We took it back to the post office. We got an appointment for the end of January 2024, almost 6 months later, to go in for our biometrics. Then I got a text at the end of May that my card was ready, and then I was able to pick it up in August. So basically, I spent almost a whole year waiting. I went and picked up my card, very easy. I was in and out before my appointment time even started. The guy gave me the card. Here's your card. Check it over, please. I said, wow, this is great. It says here that this expires in 6 months. And he looked at it and he goes, oh no, it expires in 5 months. Yeah, you need to start working on your renewal right now. I'm not kidding. So these are the things you're going to have to be very comfortable with getting through if you're going to make the full-time move to Italy. Hey, buddy boy. Who's my good dog, Kona dog? So why did we get the ERV? Why did we decide to move here full-time? This is part of the reason right here. This is Charlie, and down there is Kona. And if it wasn't for our dogs, we may not have moved here full-time to start. And I want to make this very important point on if you want to become an expat and live in Italy full-time. If it's possible for you, I highly recommend that you try coming for extended stays, 3 months at a time. Stay for 3 months, go somewhere else. It doesn't have to be home. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, is basically it. Go to Ireland, go to Montenegro, go to Japan, or go home. And try living here, see what you think. See what you think about the experience before going through the hassle and the issues and the bureaucracy of trying to become a full-time resident here. It's up to you. But I'm here to tell you, if you don't have to start filing 2 tax returns, you don't have to go through the whole process of getting your ERV and then your permiso di soggiorno and then your national health care card, which is great, but you can also just get European health insurance, which is nowhere near as expensive as it is in the United States. If you don't have to do those things, you can come over and try living in Italy for a little while. And remember that renting a place here is always an option. And it's so inexpensive in general to rent something here long-term. You could rent it for a year, even if you're only using it half-time, because the rent might be $400, $500, $600 a month. So even if you use it only half-time, your rent effectively will be $800, $900, $1,000 a month. But that's still very inexpensive without having to go through the trouble and the expense of buying a place, paying your transfer fee, paying your property transfer fee, going through and paying for a real estate agent, and the notary fees, which are very high. Going through all those issues just to try living here. I highly recommend that if you can swing it where you're trying it first for an extended period of time, that you do that. So overall, I would say that we are really enjoying having moved to Italy full time. Yes, it's been very stressful. I would recommend a few things. I would recommend, if you really think that you're going to move here full time, zero out as much stuff as you can in the US or Canada or wherever you're coming from. Don't try to keep everything going there and then move here full time. It is very difficult to do. I had the best laid plans, and everything, it seems, went up in smoke. I had a company that I'd had for 25 years that I thought I could continue to have running in my absence. It closed within 12 months. I closed it. I did not like the way it was being run. I did not like what was going on. And I could not just jump in a plane and move back to the US right away. We have too much going on here. So I had to close it. And it cost me dearly to do that. We thought our house in Texas would either be rented or sold. It's been 14 months that it's been sitting vacant. It's on the market now. We tried renting it, couldn't get that to happen, lost all that available income coming in. So these are the things that can happen. So make very sure that as much as you can, you get everything put away, put to bed, whatever colloquialism you want to use. Take care of your business if you really are going to make the full-time move here. It's super important to have everything as simple as you possibly can when you actually do make the full-time move. And again, if you can swing it where you're only moving here part-time, to give it a try, to make sure you don't mind having someone ride your ass every time you get on the road or give you stony faces before they know you. Make sure that you really, really like living here in Italy before you cash everything in and move here full-time. I think that would be the biggest takeaway and the biggest suggestion I can give you in this video. If you have questions, feel free to write me at bradsworld8@gmail.com. If you have a single quick question, there's no charge for that. I'm more than happy to do that for you. I get hundreds of emails in a month, hundreds and hundreds of emails in a month. I'm happy to answer extensively on a subject. There's a fee for that. If you want to have a voice chat or a video chat with me, more than happy to set that up with you. If you need help looking at a property that you're really interested in, but you can't make it here in time to see it, I'm happy to go and take a look at it for you. So good luck with your ERV, good luck with your trying to move to Italy, and we hope to see you guys over here soon. All right, ciao.